إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن نبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, in this class we have reached the story of Othman Ibn Affan, the third of the kholafa, second to the last of the four, and we will begin like we've done in the past, a little bit about how he came to Islam, his time with the Prophet ﷺ, followed by his time as a khalifa. So inshallah we'll break it down in different sections. Today we'll start with who Uthman was before Islam and then how he accepted Islam. Uthman radiallahu anhu, even before becoming a Muslim in the Jahiliyyah, he was a person that was known as a noble person, both from his lineage as well as from his character. His character was very, very unique, along with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and some of the other companions. It is mentioned that Uthman radiallahu anhu never ever drank any alcohol even before he became a Muslim. Not only that, but Uthman radiallahu anhu, he would by nature try to stay away from all the bad, evil activities that some of the Quraysh used to participate in. The description that scholars give of Uthman radiallahu anhu in terms of his physical appearance, they say he was a man that was not very tall, not very short. He had a very big beard, as described by scholars, and very broad shoulders as well. But the thing that really set him apart was that his character was something that no one could deny, not even the Quraysh themselves. And he had some very unique things that happened to him during his life. It is mentioned that he got the laqab, the nickname of Dhin Nurayn, which literally means the possessor of the two lights, the possessor of the two lights. And the reason why was he is the only person in history, some scholars have pointed out, that has ever married two daughters of a prophet. And here in particular, Uthman radiallahu anhu was married. He married Ruqayya radiallahu anha, and after she passed away, he married Kulthum radiallahu anha, two of the daughters of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And both of them passed away, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said to Uthman, if I had a third daughter that was able to marry you, I would have married my third daughter to you. So this is someone that the Prophet ﷺ himself is mentioning very clearly the virtues of this one man. Yes, it is possible that a person marries their daughter to someone because they think that that man is a decent man, is a good man, honest man. But for them, that same father to marry his second daughter to that same individual, this is something that usually does not happen. Yet it happened with Uthman radiallahu anhu. And in some narrations we're told that during the wedding night, the Prophet ﷺ, he gave advice to Ruqayya, his daughter, and he said, make sure that you take care of Uthman because he is the person who resembles me the most in character. He is the man who resembles me the most in character. And these are just some of the many, many qualities that this one individual possessed. In some narrations we're told that Uthman radiallahu anhu, before he became Muslim, he actually wanted to marry Ruqayya, but she had been married to her cousin, and this was before Islam. And this caused Uthman radiallahu anhu to become very sad. But he was patient, and he found out about Islam through his aunt, and then when he set out to search for the Prophet ﷺ, he encountered no other than Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. And when he asked Abu Bakr told him, yes, that there is a prophet, and he gave Uthman da'wah. He gave Uthman da'wah, calling him to Islam, and he did it in a very beautiful way. He said to Uthman, I know that you are a person of intellect. You are a very smart, intelligent man. And if you look at the Quraysh, what they worship asnam, idols that are made out of trees and stone that cannot benefit us in the least. And Muhammad ﷺ is calling towards the worship of the one Creator. So, as we mentioned during the classes on Abu Bakr, through the da'wah of Abu Bakr, Uthman radiallahu anhu became a Muslim, and he met the Prophet ﷺ, and he accepted Islam. The scholars, they highlight that Uthman had so many qualities. If you were to talk about, shyness and good character, moral, being upstanding morally, then Uthman was a leader in that. If you were to talk about generosity, then Uthman was a leader in that. When it came to reciting the Quran, Uthman was a leader in that. To such an extent that today, many of the qira'at, they get traced back to Uthman radiallahu anhu. Uthman, it is mentioned that he would sometimes finish the whole Quran in one rak'ah during the night prayer. The whole Quran in just one rak'ah. And Uthman was the one that we will later on find out that he, under his kholafa, he finalized that project of getting the whole Quran together in one form, and we'll expand on that later on. And Uthman was also a very generous man. It is mentioned that Uthman radiallahu anhu, every Friday he would free a slave. Every Friday, every Jum'ah, he would free a slave for the sake of Allah. Not only that, but he would free his own slaves, and when he would not have any more slaves to free, he would go out and buy slaves, only so that he could free them for the sake of Allah and get that reward of freeing slaves. And then certain times it is mentioned that people, when they knew that Uthman wanted to buy a slave off them, because they knew that he would buy regardless of the price, they would try to put the price as high as possible, because they knew that Uthman would not say this price is too much. He would still buy it, because his intention was to make it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you see this common trait amongst all of these pious people. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu was the one who bought Bilal radiallahu anhu, who then later on freed him for the sake of Allah. There are rather many occasions where the Prophet ﷺ specifically himself said, who will do such and such a deed, and their reward will be Jannah. And Uthman, he would always step up during one such occasion when the Prophet ﷺ was preparing one of the armies, the Muslim armies, for an expedition. The Prophet ﷺ made that request to the community, to the Muslim community. Uthman, who had a caravan of 100 camels that was about to leave Medina to set out for Sham, 100 camels in a caravan, and those camels were fully loaded with everything that is needed, and they were just about to leave Medina. Uthman, when he heard the request of the Prophet ﷺ, he did not hesitate, and he said, "I'll give all of these camels and everything that they have for the sake of Allah." Not only that, but he repeated it. In some narrations it says that he gave another 100 camels after that, and another, until he ended up giving more than 900 camels with all the things that they could carry, all for the sake of the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is again a glimpse in who Uthman radiallahu anhu truly was. Whenever the Prophet ﷺ would make a request, he would step up and he would be there for the Prophet ﷺ. It is mentioned that Uthman was part of every ghazwa, every expedition, battle that took place during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, except for one. And that one battle that Uthman stayed behind was the Battle of Badr. And the only reason he stayed behind was because his wife, Ruqayya, was sick, radiallahu anha. And she was very severely ill, and later on she passed away, and he got special permission from the Prophet ﷺ to remain behind. But other than that, Uthman radiallahu anhu, along with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Umar radiallahu anhuma, he would always be there with the Prophet ﷺ. There is one narration that is very familiar to most people, where the Prophet ﷺ is sitting, and then Abu Bakr as-Siddiq enters, and he asks for permission to enter upon the Prophet ﷺ. And when the Prophet ﷺ finds out that it is Abu Bakr, he grants him permission to enter. And the interesting part, there's many different points to mention here, but you notice that in the beginning of this narration, this hadith, it mentions that the Prophet ﷺ was by himself. So the Prophet ﷺ has secluded himself from the people. He's taking a moment to himself, away from the people. And out of all the people in Medina, who are the first people that track down the Prophet ﷺ to find where he is? It is Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And then who follows after Abu Bakr as-Siddiq to find out what happened to the Prophet ﷺ? Let me find the Prophet ﷺ. It is Umar radiallahu anhu. And then it is Uthman radiallahu anhu who comes and joins them. And the point of the hadith here is that up until that moment, the Prophet ﷺ is sitting in a very comfortable way, a way where you would sit with those people that are closest to you, your friends, your family. And then when Uthman comes, the Prophet ﷺ, he changes the way that he is sitting, and he covers the exposed part of his leg. And you might think for a moment that, okay, the Prophet ﷺ is very close and feels comfortable with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Umar, but he doesn't feel that comfortable in front of Uthman. But that is very far from the truth. The truth is that the Prophet ﷺ, he explained himself. When people asked him, they said, when Abu Bakr came and Umar came, you did not do this, and Uthman came and you did that. And the Prophet ﷺ said, should I not be shy in front of the one who even angels are shy in front of? So you can imagine the way, the level that Uthman had reached. In some narrations, again, it mentions that Uthman said that I have never taken a shower and removed izar, the bottom part, that he used to take showers with the izar on. Now, does that mean that we have to do that? No. But it shows the extent that he would go, and when he was asked, why do you do that? He says, because I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees me wherever I am, and I feel shy that to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala completely naked. And there are so many reminders when it comes to Uthman radiallahu anhu, too many to really mention all at once, but one that for me personally really stands out is a narration where it says that Uthman, when Jannah and Nar and the Akhirah would be mentioned to him, he would not cry as much. Does not mean that he would not cry at all, but he would not cry as much. However, whenever he went to the graveyard, to the maqbara, he would cry beyond control. And people were amazed, and they asked him, they said, when Jannah and Jahannam are mentioned, you don't cry as much, but when you come to the graveyard, we see you crying beyond control. What is the reason? And he says, or he said, because this is the first stop. The grave is the first stop. If everything becomes good in the grave, then everything that comes after will be easy. But if everything goes wrong in the grave, then everything that comes after the grave, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the Barzakh itself, and Yawm al-Qiyamah after it, will be even worse. So this shows the understanding that Uthman radiallahu anhu had. And he was close to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, having the unique position where he was married to not only one of the daughters of the Prophet ﷺ, but two. And not both at the same time, obviously. He married one and she passed away, and then he married the second one after that. And this shows, it's a very, very clear indication that the Prophet ﷺ was very content and very happy with Uthman. Because you might have friends, you might have acquaintances, but the person who you let into your family, marry your own daughter, get even so close, that is not someone that is merely an acquaintance. It is part of family. And you see this with all of these kholafa, that they were not just random people, but Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, his own daughter is married to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, his daughter Hafsa is married to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Uthman marries two daughters of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and later on we will find out that Ali himself is the cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and on top of that he marries the daughter of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are all close people to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and their actions reflect the actions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I only mention that and emphasize on it because when you understand it from that perspective, it shows how ridiculous any claim against these four people are. And sadly today we live in a world where people talk bad about Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, talk bad about Umar, talk bad about Uthman and Ali, radiyallahu anhum ajma'een. But when you understand that they were the closest to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they stood firm with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from day one, from the very, very beginning. They were all there with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Mecca in those early days, and they spent their whole life with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam until he passed away. And after that, they took it upon themselves to carry on that message and that responsibility because they knew the Prophet ﷺ so very well. So inshallah, in today's class we will stop here because because there are other parts that we need to cover, as well as the time that Uthman becomes the Khalifa and the circumstances behind that. And inshallah we'll try to put more emphasis on that part of his life because it comes with a great fitna. It comes with a great fitna that needs to be explained in detail.